Up, people? What's up, people? What is up, people? It is your boy MM2K back again with another Stadia live session. I know I've been all over the place this week with shows and things like that, and I want to thank you so much for bearing with me. A lot of different things going on behind the scenes, some possible changes going into future weeks. Nothing negative, nothing bad. Just having to make some life adjustment changes possibly, right? So then that of course is going to streamline or that's going to connect to what we or how we provide stuff on the channel. So stay tuned for that. May not be. I'm hoping everything works itself out in the long run, and we'll see how things go. But because of that, been having to take some extra time to run some errands and do some other things to get things all aligned to straighten up. Hey, shout out to everybody that's here already. Shot G says, what it do, brother? We got Charles Reddit out. Oh, we got that sneaky Ray Sherrod in the house. Ray Sherrod, that sneaky Ray Sherrod. Him and Cowboy, man, I don't know what y'all two are up to. Y'all's crazy, man. Shout out to the whole Stadia Bash network, man. That's the type of stuff that I like to see. Shout out to them. I like to see good people in this community get together and say, look, man, let's highlight each other's content. Let's show the greatness of this platform. And I like what them brothers is doing over there. So shout out to them and definitely check them out. And Ray, if you get a chance, man, drop a link to what's going on over there. You know what I mean? Some great stuff. And I love to see it. So definitely shout out to them. Also, my brother, hey, look, man, you got to stop spoiling me like this, man. My brother Chase in the house. He says advocacy. Yeah, man, we're going to talk that advocacy today, man. I think a lot of people don't appreciate it the way that they should. And again, just because I'm an advocate for something doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree with my opinion. During my advocacy, I can have XYZ opinion, and you can say, MM2K, you know what? I'm not digging that. I'm just not feeling that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's all right. But at least support the mind state of saying, hey, my job is not to put any Fortune 500 company on a pedestal. My job is to highlight said product or said products, to be fair in my evaluation as far as to the best of my ability, and to put everything out on the table for you. So despite where I may come from at the end of the evidence, you at least have an informed decision. Let me give you an example. Say, for instance, we're being told, hey, look, man, say we're locked in a building somewhere. We can't get out for whatever reason. There's something going on outside and we're locked in this room. And the person that's in charge of the building is like, hey, look, there ain't enough food for everybody. We only got a little bit of food. And here's everything that you can get. So he throws a couple of Nutty Buddy bars on the table, right? But me and my homie Chase were sitting there, you know what I'm saying? And we're like, yo, I know I smell scrambled eggs. Hey, yo, Chase, did you smell them scrambled eggs? Yeah, man. I know I smell some turkey sausage up in the back. You smell that? Yeah, man. Hey, look. Hey, Chase, I think this dude is jiving us. Word. Go. Hey, look, man, I'm gonna devise a plan, man. We're gonna empty that fridge. I know there's more than a couple of Nutty Buddies and some Twinkies back there, man. And we go back there. So this janky dude just gave us some Twinkies and some Nutella. And Tom, there ain't nothing else in there. We find a plethora of food. So we bring the plethora of food and we plop it on the table and we say, boom, here's everything out there for y'all. Now, at the end of the day, me and Chase may be happy because we're like, ooh, there is a lot more food in there that was being alluded to. And now you guys can enjoy. At the end of the day, you may say, well, yeah, I'm glad you brought out all this stuff, but this ain't nothing but spam and powdered eggs. I don't eat that stuff anyway. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. That's fine. You may not be as giddy as I am, or Chase is, or my homie Rev is about something. You may not be as giddy, but at least we put everything out there on the table for you. And that's what this is all about. That's what this SLS is focused on, is us putting everything out on the table for you, for us to have that well-rounded discussion, for you to provide your feedback, because at the end of the day, it's all about servicing the people. I'm not here. I got to keep it jiggy with y'all. I'm not here to make sure that a company's bottom line is cracking. And that's not my job. I don't get a paycheck for that. My job is to say, look, I like this product. I really do like this product. And based upon all the evidence that I'm putting on the table, here's what I think, this is what I can eat off of from all this information. Now, you may not like this, but at least I'm putting everything out there for you. My job is not to cut something out, to add more in, to double it in. And my job definitely is not out of anger or any angst of Stadia to prop another platform up either. We're going to talk about that too, because, we've seen remnants of that, and we got to get better at making sure. And I think a lot of times when it happens, it's knee jerk. We don't even realize it's subconscious. We don't even realize that we're doing it, but we got to stop it, because then that hurts our credibility. But shout out to the homie Chase. You know what I'm saying? Advocacy is very important, regardless of where you come up with our underlying opinions. And me and Chase's underlying opinions don't always match. You know what I'm saying? And they don't always match in regards to what's going on recently with Stadia. But again, it's the underlying effort, looking for everything, putting everything out on the table for you to make the well-rounded decision. Meanwhile, we're giving you our opinions as well. Okay. So shout out to Chase. Shout out to that homie Rev. He says, we in here, bro. Stadia is #forevergen. And see, I believe that too, brother. I believe that too. I definitely believe that Stadia is here for the long term. It's not going anywhere. I just got particulars as far as messaging, which again, other people may not agree with. But we got to put everything out on the table. I think now we're at a critical impasse where everything is out on the table. My brother Chase says, it's Thursday. Let's make it $10 and thank you for what you do. Oh, come on, man. Y'all spoiling me today. I appreciate it. Hey, now, here's the thing, y'all. Thank you, everybody, for your support. We can't do this without you. Thank you so much. Love you guys and gals for everything that you do for this platform. You are what make this possible and make this platform grow. I want to say this before we get started, because I hate when I do this, and I do this often because I babble a lot and we run out of time, and then I go pick up my wife, come back, and I see comments that I wish I would have, I come over these. When I come back after I drop my wife off, then, I got a few more hours to where, I could breathe a little bit, and I come over the comments that I miss. So if you got something that you're saying, and I get it to our conversations in the chat, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? And I'll catch what I can. But if you got something directly that you want me to see and I don't see it at first, just hit that super chat button. I'll get on it. Also, too, we got great content that's we got great content in and out of this platform, particularly with our members. If you want to be part of it, definitely check out our member content by hitting that join button. We got our static shows, the shows that you get every week, the content you get this is at the very least, you get something called Channel Talk, where we preview the previous week. We still got that to air. We give you My First Look. We're giving you 2 this week. We already gave you Journey to the Savage Planet. That's a hell of a game. And we're going to do, I don't know, we might do Little Nightmares too. We might do something else. I still got to figure it out. And then last but not least, we got the SSC after party. SSC is going to air tomorrow around 5 or 5:15 p.m. We got some good guests for the show tomorrow, I believe. I just got to reconfirm with everybody, some well-known figures. We might have a special guest. I got to double check with them and see what their availability is. If not, we're going to get them on sooner rather than later. With that said, just so you're aware of the programming times then, and then also SML podcast will be Saturday, 11 a.m. It's going to be hosted on this channel this week. And don't forget, my homegirl Snow Bunny with the the Yang Meets Yang of Gaming, also co-hosted by my homie Project Storm. That's every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we got the commission. I think it's going to be today, 8 p.m. So definitely check all that out. All right. So now that we've done all that, let me put this in one more place. And I think we good, man. I think we ready to go. Let's do this. Okay. So the reason why I wanted to do this, shout out to the homie Amunar. He says Stadia's done. You and your financial advisor. Now, that's my brother, my good brother Amunar, man. Love you, brother. Love you. All right. So Chariot Man Gaming says Stadia is going to be here, man. Yeah, I believe it. Here's the thing, though, y'all. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, so based upon the evidence that I have seen, and we've shared that with you, so I don't want to waste our time going over that. Just please check all my previous content. I've gone over it ad nauseum. I do believe Stadia is here to stay. I do believe that Stadia, basically with the SG&E dissolving of that, they did that for the purpose of strengthening their ability to have more of an impact up front. What do I mean by that? I think when Stadia hit the scene, they had these big lofty ideas of revolutionizing gaming, which I think is great and fantastic. You had things like Project Chimera that really excited me. I was just salivating to see how that would pan out. Where in Project Chimera again would, allow a team of 10 to build a world of Warcraft, you know what I'm saying, type thing. And I would definitely revolutionize gaming, because aren't we tired of getting games that are so buggy, that are so messed up? Like this game that you're watching right now on the screen, where it may take hundreds, not thousands of people to do for 8, 9, 10 years, and it still comes out buggy. Some things like Project Chimera would put an end to that. And that's the type of stuff that we're really looking forward to. But in the immediate future, which is all about Stadia being able to get the games that we want to play up front, get them, and get them to where we can play them, on any screen, wherever you want to go at any time, the ease and comfortability of how the platform works. So I think Cyberpunk 2077 really is the ideal game to describe the state of Stadia, the good and the bad. The bad was they had a proposal with what they were doing with SG&E that would take the controversy surrounding Cyberpunk 2077 and make that a never was. With things like Project Chimera, you wouldn't see them again, just because it was finally going to be the first tool. I've always said this, even before I even knew what a Stadia was. I always would tell people, because people used to get mad at me and say, MM2K, why aren't you rallying against downloadable content and loot boxes? And I said, as long as they're not abusive, I'm not against it, because it costs more money to make games than it ever has. But the number of gamers isn't growing significantly, particularly on consoles. Consoles is where we thrive for those AAA experiences. So, the game development, like if you look at from the 360 era to what's going on now, I think a AAA game like Dead Space, I think they talked about this. Dead Space took a total of like 30 million or something like that, or maybe 50 million maximum to market and make. And that was, and they spent, and that was well above the industry standard at the time. $50 million. And in what? 10 years time, it's gone up. It's going up 10 times. Now it's 500 million for your blockbuster game. But and the thing is, back then they were charging 60, and they were still proposing to charge 60 now. And then the other thing too is that your base number of console gamers isn't growing. It's still hovering between 200 and 300 million gamers. So your costs are soaring tenfold. Your costs are soaring tenfold. But your revenue's not going up. Hence why you see what you see now. Day one patch is bigger than the goddamn game themselves. And that's because we were so staunch, we're not going to take it on raising the prices. Now, you'll see false information about, the cost of making games really hasn't gone up and all that. Those are charts that are diluted with the cost of making mobile games and AA games. We're not talking about those. We're talking about the sole cost of AAA games. The cost to make a AAA game has gone up tenfold. So because of that, there's more, you get the jankiness that you see now, and Project Chimera allowing you to build games as big as World of Warcraft with 10 people, again, was going to eliminate that. So of course, that's why I'm particularly disappointed. Now, was I really yearning to see a first party studio build something? No, I was yearning to see that tech, that Project Chimera. I was yearning more to see what Aaron Hoffman John was putting together. And again, not saying that Jade Raymond ain't a great talent. I'm pretty sure that she would have come up with a fantastic game. And it's a shame that those people were put together only to be knocked down. But at the end of the day, I think, and I said this in a prior video, I think they just done things out of order. But I believe, and it makes sense, that if you get the reception that you get for a Cyberpunk, and if the greatest strength that you have is the fact that people want to play your games, AAA, or play AAA games, or play the biggest and best games with the mobility that they can't get nowhere else, to get that constant performance that they can't get nowhere else, and get access, and when it comes to other cloud platforms, get all the big ticket games. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get nowhere else. Like Madden is huge in the US. You can't play Madden on your phone anywhere else except on Stadia. And I'm not talking about Madden Mobile. I'm talking about the full-fledged AAA effort Madden. You can play it on your phone. I was doing it the other day. Drove my wife crazy. We would go on to Sam's Club, and I let her drive. And I was sitting there practicing for my game, where I still got my butt walloped anyway. But I said, baby, I get my practice in. You don't understand. I'm going to get embarrassed on my own stream. MM2K can't get embarrassed back-to-back weeks, which I did. And she said, okay, I got you. He was upset about it, so I pulled on my Razer Kishi and started playing my, what's it called? It was a 45-minute drive to Sam's Club, and, I was playing it and got my little practice on. Can't do that on no other platform. You can't. So, it's a no-brainer if you look at that and you look at the fact that their competitors, Microsoft and Amazon, can both take the thing that is powering their gaming tech and market it out as well. So you can either, you can either partner directly with the gaming platform. Like I can partner directly with Xbox and say, yeah, I want to put EA Play on Xbox directly, use the power of our gaming marketing machine, and you can partner directly with us, our already established company. Or you can just sit there and say, hey, look, I want to do what PlayStation did. I want to use your technology to power my own individual hub. And the latter part is what Stadia was missing. So I see this as nothing more as Stadia doing what their partners are doing, and their partners actually shellacking them in. If you look at Google standing in the cloud space, they're getting shellacked from Microsoft and AWS, and then they're looking at this thing like, well, what do we have that really stands above the rest? Our gaming tech. Our gaming tech stands above the rest. So let's not just sit on this. This is an opportunity to make us more competitive. Let's allow individuals to lease out the tech or do a Ubisoft Plus. I know a lot of arguments is, why would I bring my stuff here when I could do it? Because you already have an established platform. You already got you already got established player base. You already got an ecosystem design. Why not just let somebody else do the heavy lifting, do the porting, and just bring your games to their ecosystem, like how Ubisoft is doing? It's the same, and then and people are like, well, no, I can't see why they would do that. Well, then Amazon Luna's not going to work. Because that's the same thing that Amazon Luna is basing their thing on. They're saying, hey, give us your games. Let's put them on our ecosystem. Let us do the heavy lifting. And you can play your game. People can play your games off our ecosystem. It's the same thing that Microsoft wants to do. Stadia can do it too. So because of that, I believe that Stadia is here to stay. Now, with all that said, Stadia has a perception problem. And I can't ignore that perception problem. Why can't I ignore that perception problem? For the exact same reasons that I spoke of earlier at the beginning of this. Advocacy. I know y'all might be tired of me and Chase saying that. But when I started this platform, it was based on advocacy. Look, a lot of people are being misinformed on Stadia. I think Stadia is a cool product. But bigger than what I think, I want to put everything out there on the table, good and bad. So we're going to put it out there on the table. If y'all can remember, one of my very first guest on SSC, excuse me, was none other than our good friend Duncan Baxter. And Duncan came on. Duncan's had his issues with the platform since the very beginning. Whether I agree with him or not, that's his opinion, and he's entitled to them. And when he came on the show, he gave them. People weren't happy though, but we let him speak his piece, and a lot of it, I think, at the time was spot on, and I agreed with it, and we talked about it. So since the very beginning, yes, I feel way more positive than I am negative about certain things. So that's going to reflect in the opinion that I give, the personal opinion that I give. But I'm going to put everything out on the table. And another driver of the content that I do here, and I'm just speaking for me, I can't speak for any other contributor, but for the content that I'm going to do here is that I always take a pulse of the community. One of my favorite old school rappers, his name is Keith Murray. He used to have a saying, we're going to take it to the streets. I always take it to the streets. I used to have a day of the week that I would go down to GameStop and rap to the different managers that I knew there, and get information because I've always been heavily engrossed in the culture of gaming, and talk to people. And I remember way back when with the Xbox One X, when that was releasing, my original opinions based off the information I was seeing was the Xbox One X was going to fly off shelves. It was going to decimate the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it was going to make the Xbox competitive in the States. Because I remember when I went to go pick up my Xbox One X, it was pandemonium. It was kind of crazy. But then I started talking to people. I started talking first and foremost to my friend at not PlayStation, at GameStop. And I started talking to other people in the streets. And what I discovered was that PlayStation, and I said this, and I said this during one of our Broadband Bullies podcasts. I said, look, I'm going to have to retract on a bet that I had made with my good friend Porter Rock. I told him, I said, I had told Porter Rock that I was going to bet him that Xbox is going to win in PD. I said, no, I'm here to tell y'all, I think Sony is going to squeak it out. I think they're going to squeak it out. And everybody's like, no, there's no way. No, Xbox One X. I was like, no. PlayStation went and put the PlayStation 4 Slim on a heavy discount a week early before Black Friday, and that's going to help give them the edge. And it did. And it was just a psychological thing in the favor of PlayStation, to where it kind of like had ramifications. Like even at the launch of the Xbox One X, their reboot, their attempt to solidify themselves in the gaming market, they couldn't even win the NPD that month with the new console launching. That it meant that much to PlayStation to kill any momentum that they went and did that. And they did it at a loss. They did it at a loss. As we found out in 2019, that was one of the things that came at a loss, and they had to do things like, cancel E3s and, cancel mindshare events and stuff like that. But it helped them in the long term. So when I take it to the streets and I talk to people and they give me inclinations that, hey, MM2K, even though you feel XYZ, we don't feel that way. And that's a problem. And it's something that we got to bring up. What am I referring to? I'm referring to Stadia's unwillingness to reboot their messaging from last week. They're just unwilling to do it. I don't know if it's pride. I don't know if it's junk data. I don't know if they're listening to shows like, I'm going to just keep it real. I'm not trying to say we're anything bigger. I don't know if they're hearing the fervor from certain podcasters and they're like, oh, I can't stand that guy. I can't stand that girl. You know what? I'm not listening. They don't run us. We're Google, damn it. Who the hell are they? I don't know what it is, but I'm here to tell you, Google, that when I take it to the streets, the prospect, the mind share, the things aren't looking good. People are saying things to me that just don't sound good. It was one thing when Stadia first launched and everybody was talking about the Stadia's dead, and then we had the doubts in the community. Kitty, you're gonna have to relax. Relax, Kitty. I know there's angst. Stadia's not dead. Just relax, okay? I didn't mean that. Now, it was one thing back then when we were saying that, or when we were hearing that, because when we were hearing that, people were saying that because they were off of information, silly information like, no, the business model doesn't make sense, when all it is the console business model, but a lot cheaper version of it that gives you a lot less friction and a lot easier way to enter into, a generationless console, right? Once I sync my Gmail account or get a Premier bundle, I have every single generation of Stadia. I never have to go through the grind of selling stuff, selling my old units or whatever to get the latest and greatest version of Stadia. I will always have Stadia. So that whole fervor of the business model don't make sense. It's just one of those stupid and silly things that people like to say, even smart people smarter than that. They just like to say it. It's that idiot herd mentality. We're human by nature. And because of that, so we sometimes fall into this herd mentality for things that we don't want to research, and we just go with, okay, we're just going with the flow. We're going with the current. It doesn't, the line doesn't make any sense, right? But despite all that, even though we were hearing that, it was just based off of rhetoric from other people. Stadia themselves was out there telling you, look, we're in this for the long haul. We can pull up articles again to Jack Buse. I've said it here at nauseum. Yeah, you're going to play Stadia at first. You're not going to like it, but you're going to come back years later. You're going to like it. And we be clapping like a baby seal. Jack Buser. Y'all heard it. So there was evidence that we can pull out and go, blah, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You ain't do your research. When it comes to this, and I'll say this, and when we pull out those articles and the stuff that Jack or Phil or whoever would say, it spoke to the common consumer. It was digestible to the common consumer. But when you close your first party studio before they really produced anything, and then you put out a letter that seems more matter of fact, or it speaks to the average consumer more like a wind down letter. It sounds like a wind down letter. What I mean by a wind down letter, a letter that says, a letter that's like a prerequisite to you shutting down, but you're not willing to say so yet. That's what it looks like. Now, I know we've combed over it. I know that our good friends at Stadia Life put the little orange blotches on stuff. Here I go making up my own words. Little orange blotches. Someone clip that on words. And when you take the third letter or the third word and paragraph and the fifth paragraph and the fourth word, and you put them, if you would have put it all together like you looking for the Zodiac killer, then it makes sense. I get it. But that's not what's digestible to the average consumer. And what we got to realize, people, this isn't doom and gloom from MM2K, because again, I believe that they're doing a reboot. But I am talking solely to one thing: viability. It don't matter what they try to do. If they don't properly communicate why something so happened, and people lose faith in your product, I don't care what you attempt to do. I don't care what you put out. The thing that's going to be stinging constantly in the back of their head is, oh, I don't know if that thing is going to be around. I'm not putting a dime into that, especially when the thing that they're wanting to give me, I can get elsewhere. It sounds sweet that I might be able to try it on my phone or whatever, but at the risk of me booting it up on Monday, enjoying it, and then come back to it on Thursday and it's not there. Oh no. And I'm telling you, Google, that's the risk that you're running into. Case in hand. There's no bigger case than this, y'all. What are we talking about now? We still talking about last week. What are we talking about now? We are still talking about last week. Why ain't we talking about yesterday? Yesterday was huge. Why ain't I talking about yesterday? I mean, come on, think about it. Crata, a game developing tool, one of the best out there at a console type of level, is now free to play, and it allows people to make all types of crazy experiences that can be shared across PC and Stadia. Can you imagine the possibilities here? Even with it just being on Stadia, the output that we saw was just phenomenal. Also, the critically acclaimed game, Little Nightmares 2, the sequel, is not only launched day and date, but we got a new term for Stadia now. Day before date, DBD. D&D is dead. It's now DBD. DBD happened on Stadia pretty much for the first time. Day before date, you got to play the sequel to a critically acclaimed IP on Stadia first. And if you had Stadia Pro, you got to play it at no additional charge. And we're not talking about that. Why? Because of the thing that Stadia refuses to address properly, regardless of those of us in the community who thinks that is something that we can go past. We can think that all we want. But at the end of the day, it's not about us. If it was simply about us, then Stadia wouldn't have even had to do what they did last week. They would have been in a good enough track to where they wouldn't have had to make that change. So apparently, with us, it's a great start, but they need a little bit more. Give me some more. You know the old Busta Rhymes song, give me some more. Apparently, Stadia needs more, which means more outside of our box, more with the mainstream. And if every time the mainstream looks at this product, because here's what they do. Some will just try it and say, oh, that sounds dope. But some will do the research. A game platform that you ain't got to spend hundreds of dollars on. Oh, this is too good to be true. Let me look it up. Tippity tap tap. Tippity tap. What? Stadia is about to die. They closed down a first party studio. I ain't never heard of it. What? 9 to 5 Google says Stadia is about to. Chrome Unboxed said Stadia is dying. What? Well, let's see what Stadia got to say. Hold on, let me look at this letter. Honestly, I can't. What? This don't make it sound like a wind down letter. I've had several conversations already. This is why I waited today to even talk on this. I didn't want to be knee jerk. I've had several conversations with people, including after the tone deaf attempt yesterday to just breeze past this. And I feel bad because it hurts me to say this honestly, because, like, for instance, when the news was dropping about Crata, which is huge, I had just dropped off the car with my wife because she had to go take care of some things. I dropped the car off with her and I walked back. That was my extra, because normally I go in the morning exercise and get my coffee, but I waited till later in the day, dropped the car off, and then got my exercise that way. Whoa, that was a lot of exercise. Whoa, too much for me. But anyway. And I was listening to my good brother Eddie Player One, who was playing the interview from Brian Chappelle. And then to give my brother Brian Chappelle, I actually went and watched this thing too. And Brian did a hell of a job. Eddie did a hell of a job covering it. That should have been huge. That should have been plastered all everywhere. But when I look at tracking, Nobody's talking about that. They're still talking about what the first party closure means for Stadia. And when I talk about, I'm talking about everywhere. So again, Stadia made a move that makes sense because even though they got us and that's great, they need more. Apparently they need more. And the more is out there. So in their attempt to get the more, they do something that is, synonymous with a barn burner, but it had to be done. But it was something that you handle the messaging of delicately, but they don't do that. They gave it to Kotaku, the best steward. What is this thing with Stadia giving sensitive information to people that are their worst stewards? But let me go back to the MM2K sarcasm. They give it to one of the worst stewards of their product, Kotaku, to speak on first, and then they follow up with what looks like a wind down letter to the average consumer. Now, again, we got our orange highlighter out thanks to our homies at Stadia Life, and we decoded that mug, and we found the Zodiac Killer. Yes, no, for all intents and purposes, I think I can say fairly that the vast majority of us, those that watch this platform and watch the other content creators, we've looked at all the evidence and we feel like this is a reboot and that Stadia is moving forward. But again, it's not about us, because if it was about us, they wouldn't have had to do what they did last week anyway. They wouldn't have had to do it because there would have been enough of us out there subsidizing the effort, and we still would be getting Project Chimera. They would have had to skip the beat. That move last week was it to bring more product to the product so they can get more of them. So now you handle something delicately, give it to one of your worst stewards, and then again you follow up with what sounds like a wind down letter. And then after we're telling you day after day after day, you need to repurpose this message. And I'm going to give you an example of how. Because it was something I was just thinking of walking to go get my coffee this morning. Something really simple. We're telling you got to repurpose this message, and you refuse to do it. And what happens? In your stubbornness, big news that hit yesterday. I want you to do me a favor. Do me a favor. Because I know a lot of y'all think out here that I'm just capping and spitting into my pop filter just for the hell of it. Do me a favor. I want y'all to close your eyes. I want y'all to close your eyes. And I want y'all to think. Just imagine. First party. Just imagine the first party never dissolved. It's first party staying around. Jade Raymond's still there. I know it's hard. Jade Raymond's still there. Aaron Hoffman, John is still there. Matter of fact, you could catch Aaron. There was a development queue, I think, that went out as Google development queue that went out not too long ago. And I know she's on paternity leave, but let's just say Aaron Hoffman John comes on and she's talking a little bit more about Project Chimera. So we all tickle fancy, giggling like a fat kid in a candy store. We're excited. Just imagine all that. Still chugging along. And then imagine yesterday. Imagine being told Stadia's getting little nightmares too. Day before day, DBD. They're getting it DBD for Stadia Pro members. And Crata, one of the, most promising game creators, is now going free to play and it's cross-platform with PC, and it's free for anybody that wants to sign up and just use Stadia. You ain't even got to be a pro member. You can use Crata. You can play the Crata games. Just again, erase all that negative stuff that was being said. The Stadia is dead. It's dying. The resurfacing of Yang Ye and Meme Cast Boy. None of that exists. None of that exists. Keep your eyes closed. Do this exercise. None of that exists. But then this is mentioned. And then you look to your left and you look to your right. What are they talking about on Xbox? Oh, ZeniMax is going to be thrown into an entity called Volt and then come back out of the Volt and be ZeniMax again. Look to your right. What are they talking about over at PlayStation? Destruction All Stars. But over here on the Stadia side, we just discovered that on the heels of the whole Cyberpunk 2077 thing, with all the attention that's now on this platform, all the people that was like, oh man, the news ain't cranking that big for Stadia, what's going on? And we was telling people, just wait till February. It's just slow for everybody. Can you imagine being told, without all this noise that's going on now, that Crate is now going to be free for everybody to experience? And Little Nightmares 2 is coming to Pro. Open your eyes. Now that we're back into reality, you see what I'm saying? You see how this was a lost opportunity? Now I'm going to tell you this. This won't be the end. Any announcement that Stadia makes in this realm about, well, we're getting this new game or that new game, it's going to fall to the wayside. Look, it's even to, I said in the prior video, y'all, that there's a difference between people believing something doesn't matter and people not wanting something to matter. People believing something doesn't matter, they don't say nothing about it. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example, and I hate to do this because it's going to seem like I'm being hypocritical because I'm talking about all the negative things of people saying about Stadia without trying it, but I've never tried this. But I think the Atari VCS, I think it's dead in the water. I could be wrong, but I think it's dead in the water. I just don't see the purpose of it. But that's just my opinion. I'm not going to sit there and say it's definite and all the other stuff. And again, nothing against the good people at Atari. Those are just my thoughts. But do you see me talking about Atari? No. I don't think it's going to amount to anything. I don't even think it's worth the discussion. Hold on one second. So I don't even bring it up. Now, when it comes to Stadia, everybody brings up Stadia, even though Stadia is so bad. Oh, Stadia this and Stadia that. And even other people, when they want to compare cloud platforms, they can never talk about said cloud platform on its own 2 feet. They always got to do a contrast to Stadia. This. Like when you look at GFN or Amazon News, notice how the GFN and Amazon News, and I'm talking purely mainstream, they never talk about Amazon or GFN individually. They always got to bring Stadia in the mix. They can never talk about GFN isolated. Excuse me, I've yet to see an isolated GFN article, but there are plenty of Stadia articles where they don't bring up GFN or Amazon or Microsoft. Right? Stadia always got to stand on its own too. Ain't no excuse for Stadia. But for them, there's all types of excuses. And they bring those other ones up in a positive light. They never talk about the negative stuff, but they bring them up in a positive light, again, as a zero-sum contrast to Stadia. There's a reason for that. Because despite what they say to the mainstream, Stadia does matter. It may not be popular, but it matters. Because they got this idiotic belief that if cloud gaming succeeds, that it's going to hinder their ability to enjoy dedicated device gaming. And Stadia is the biggest and baddest proposal of that. And what other way to make it appear like you don't have an issue with cloud gaming? It's just Stadia by using the other cloud platforms against each other. But you know what happens after you do that? After you do that, then the next cloud platform gets knocked down. Now, this is a game that the mainstream is playing, but the community at mass, they're not playing that game. Every time something goes bad with Stadia, they say, look, this is testament that cloud gaming just ain't ready yet. It needs to be bottlenecked again, like on live. It's not ready yet. Maybe come back in 10 years and try it over again, y'all. But right now, it's not ready. Cloud gaming, not just Stadia, all of cloud gaming. They don't want to see any investment into it. That was last week. But as I dig into this week, yeah, I'm starting to see some articles here and there still bringing up Stadia about the SG&E and it's closing down. But it's kind of like, yeah, well, it's dead and it's time to move on. Like they don't even care now. Like the people that used to come after me about Stadia, they don't, it's like, why even bother now? It's dead. It's dead. It's still on life support. It's still breathing air, but y'all ain't pulled out the plug yet, but it's essentially, it's dead. It's brain dead. And that mantra is spilling over into the mainstream consumer who might be interested in Stadia. And those that you picked up with Cyberpunk 2077. Look, I'm going to tell y'all this. I've had conversations, and for my Patreon and for my Stadia Dosage news members, I'm going to put this out here for y'all to listen to, because I embellished on this yesterday. I meant to put it out there last night, but didn't get an opportunity to. But I put it out there just as to add more meat and potatoes to this discussion. I've had conversations with people who were doubtful of Stadia, but then when Cyberpunk 2077 came, they picked it up, they were impressed, and they said, now what's next? And they were, like, okay, now what's next? And Madden comes out. And I know these people like Madden. But after Madden comes out, then this news of SG&E comes out. So I've had conversations with them about picking up Madden after the SG&E news come out. And you know what they said? Because now they have the platform, and there is no real in-depth Stadia coverage except with the community here. So I point them to the community here. Or these are, again, still people that likes the proposal of Stadia, but they haven't fully converted. They like it and they're ripe for the picking, but they haven't fully converted. So they still listen to the IGNs and the GameStop spots and all the other stuff, and they still get their news from those markets. And when I spoke to them about it, they was like, look, brother, we get it. Hey, look, Moss, we get it. Bro, congratulations. These are people that I knew that grew up with me. So they don't know me as MM2K Lamont, the entity, the entertainer. They know MM2K, who I am in real life. These are people that I've gone to school with, or families are close, all this other stuff, right? And they said, look, Moss, we get it, man. We get it. You're doing your thing out there. This is how they frame it. You're doing your thing out there. You're over 1,000 subs, man. Hey, look, man, we proud of you, brother. But every single news outlet from here to Timbuktu is telling us that this thing is dead. It's dying. And I don't hear nothing from Stadia, from Google about this. The response that they had to it sounds like a wind down letter. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but it sounds like a wind down letter. I'll be damned if I pick up anything else on this platform. I'm silent because I want that to resonate. So again, Stadia did all this to get people like who I'm speaking to, but yet because of how sloppily the messaging was handled, those people they're not reachable. Now, the positive thing, no, I won't get into that yet. There's a lot of people that hear that and they say, well, those people are stupid. There's so many stupid people. Look, why can't they look at that letter and see it for what it is? People, they're stupid. They're silly. And you know what? I hate to say it. And I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way. But when it comes to this type of gaming information, yes, they are ignorant. Yes, they are. That's why, what do you think I've used terms like the idiot herd for? And I know that they may not be the nicest way to describe them, but I'm not known for my pleasantries when it comes to matters like this. Yeah, they're ignorant to this stuff. They're casuals, of course. But the last time I checked, if I had a stack of bills and I walked up to a bank and I gave it to the bank teller didn't put them in two separate piles and said, you know what, Mr. MM2K, I can take this pile, but I can't take that pile. Because this pile that I'm giving you back are from the dumb people. Last time I checked, it doesn't work that way. Dumb money, smart money, all money, good money, okay? And I'm going to be honest with you. In a world where, in an alternate universe where that would happen, let's go in a hot tub time machine and go to a portal or a black hole that would take us to a world where people actually separate money. They run an IQ wand over it, over the DNA of the person that had the money previously. It would say, you know what? Here's the smart money pile. Here's the dumb money pile. You know what I would see in front of me? I would see one pile extremely high and another pile extremely kind of low. You want to know why? Because the smart money pile would be a lot lower than the dumb money pile. I hate to tell you, but the average gaming consumer is just ignorant. The proof is in the pudding. Entities like IGN is the number one gaming source of news. And again, I know some people don't like it when I attack these gaming. No, I'm not attacking. I'm just telling you what it is. I listen to podcasts Unlocked faithfully. Again, I tell you, I don't listen to the same stuff y'all listen to. I listen to stuff that I disagree with. Why? Because not just a slogan here. I want to look at things from 5,000 feet. I want to see what everybody's thinking and saying. So I watch Podcasts Unlocked regularly. That is an Xbox podcast created by IGN. And an Xbox podcast created by IGN, not only did one of the co-hosts think that Stadia actually was dying, because the question came up about Halo Master Chief Collection. They said, is Halo Master Chief, people are talking about Halo Master Chief coming to different platforms, and I've entertained and had fun with the notion that it could come to Stadia. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm doubtful. I'm very doubtful, but who knows, right? And so somebody said, well, it might come to Game Pass and Xcloud, not knowing that Master Chief Collection is already in Game Pass. And correct me if I'm wrong here. I could be the one wrong here. But I thought Xcloud gave you access to all the games in Game Pass. That's what I thought. I thought if you got Game Pass Ultimate, You got access to the Master Chief Collection or anything that's in Game Pass. Now, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't even have an Xbox Live account anymore. And I don't have a paid for account anymore. My Xbox Live account I've deactivated. I don't play on that thing anymore. So somebody let me know. But they didn't even know that it was there. They didn't know it was there. And they thought they weren't talking smack. They legitimately thought Stadia was like dying, was dead. That's what they thought. This is the number one source of gaming news. And those are faux pas that they give every week. They are very ignorant to basic gaming information, albeit Stadia or Xbox. They're ignorant to it. But they are the number one source of gaming news. So if they're ignorant to it, what do you think the readers and listeners are? Ignorant to it. Come on, people. So yes, the majority of people that don't know any better, that have made these absolutes about this platform and have never touched it, in a lot of ways when it comes to this type of information, they're ignorant. But that's just gaming, period. And I'm sorry, you got to speak to the ignorant. You got to dumb down your message and you got to speak to the ignorant. Because there's not enough of us in the know, enough of us that think individually, that think independently, rather, to help support this platform. There's not enough of us. If there were, then last week would have never happened. And that little exercise where I told y'all to close y'all eyes, that would have not been necessary. So when y'all sit there and say, look, man, of course it's this and that. Yes, it's obvious to us. But you got to understand that Stadia is making these moves beyond us. And if they're making these moves beyond us, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. For whatever reason, they don't want to repurpose their message. And that's harmful because the people that they're trying to reach, I'm letting you know right now, they're telling me or they're operating like this platform is dead. Now, to Stadia's benefit, most people don't know about Stadia yet. So it's not over. This is just carrying on longer than it should. The overwhelming majority, I would say, out of 10 people, only 1 or 2 know about Stadia. Maybe 3. So you still have a large consumer base that haven't been tainted yet. But let's just say if you do continue to get the big ticket game, what if Resident Evil 8 ends up being the next game that's day before date? I'm just throwing it out there. I think PlayStation got the marketing rights, but I'm just to give you an example. Let's just say if the reallocation of funds is successful and they are able to bring bigger games to the platform, and someone says, "Hold on, I want to play Resident Evil 8 on the go, and this way and that way. Oh, this is dope. Let me look up this Stadia thing." And they continue to see Stadia's dead, not just from your IGN, but even from your Chrome Unboxed and your 9to5 Googles. They're like, this ain't looking good. If there continues to be this uncertainty, they're not coming to a channel labeled Stadia Dosage for reassurance. Come on. Is that what y'all think? Is that what y'all think? Because I'm going to tell you, my good friends that know me, that grew up with me, that know that I do my research, they ain't falling for it. This platform here, everybody's welcome, but I am very self-aware. This platform, its biggest reach are people that already have and believe or already embedded in Stadia in the community. I am not in La La Land or in the Twilight Zone thinking that I got mainstream gamer reach. No. So Google relying on any of us to do that is the wrong strategy. Now, some of you may say, well, MM2K, well, what are they supposed to say? What are they supposed to say? Well, I'm going to tell you. With Fortune, I'm not new to this. And again, I'm not trying to brag or make it seem like that I'm better than anybody. I'm not. But I want people to understand I'm not new to this. I think I have a good understanding because of my spot with the broadband bullies and watching Next Gen 720 and his direct interactions with Phil Spencer. And then me and him talking, having conversations about the history between him and Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg and all them, the high-level execs. See, one thing I learned from Next Gen and why he was a great mentor is that Z, aka Next Gen 720, he don't get excited like how we do when there's a big exec. He don't care. They're just average Joe Schmoes that just happen to be making games. So when he's dealing with them one-on-one, he's respectful, but he's not like, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's like, he keeps it 100 with him. Like, look, I can't do that. My platform is not about that. You know, he don't sit there and say, ooh, I don't want to mess this up. This is going to be big for my channel. No, there are lines that he's not willing to cross, or that he's not willing, you know, regardless of who it is. So then I started to see some real honest conversations. I mean, I've been, how can I say? I've been introduced to how to have these real honest conversations, regardless of what the stature of the person is. So I'm not new to this. You couple that with my Fortune 500 experience, regardless of gaming, for the past 25 plus years, I've been embedded with a Fortune 500 company, number one company in our industry. I can't talk about what we do because of the type of contracts and stuff that we have. I can't even stay who they are. This is why this is why I'm behind an avatar. I can't, it's that deep. I can't come on camera. But I have negotiated relationships, SLAs, gone to court, multi-million-dollar court, you know, things and stuff like that. And so I can tell you the Fortune 500 lingo or their habits. And I feel, and again, this is my opinion, I feel the biggest reason why oh, word! Shout out to Heath. You in Monroeville? Bro, what is you doing out there? The snow is horrible. Well, you know, and Monroeville is they probably sold it to Rose. But shout out to the homie Heath Stevens. He's close to me. The roads is horrible. Good luck. Hey, be safe, brother. Be safe. I ain't going nowhere, man. I'm picking up the way I come back home. Hey, I'd kick it with you, Heath. I'd actually come out there and kick it with you. But I'm not going nowhere, brother. Monroeville ain't nothing but a good 20-minute drive from where I'm at. But yeah, I'm not allowed because of that, you know, to do that because of my affiliation with them. With that being said, I can tell you what I think Google's issue is here. Google, for various reasons, legal and whatever, don't want to keep talking about dissolving the first party. There's legal ramifications to that. So you got to walk and find tightrope. I've been part of those exercises. They don't want to keep bringing it up. You know what I'm saying? And I get that. But there's a way that you can walk and chew gum. There's a way that you can reassure your consumer base without, oh yeah, Johnstown's even worse. I believe it. I believe it. Doctors, yeah. Oh, you're at the UPMC Center. Okay, I got you, brother. I used to work there. On the side. Real quick story, Heath. I used to work at the UPMC Center on weekends, teaching med students. Unrelated to anything I used to do, a good friend of mine that used to work with me, their wife used to be head of this medical program. And so they needed help. So I joined just to do some regular stuff, like regular pamphlet giving, and I was stuff. And over years, I've learned the different things and got what I needed to help them out in certain medical issues, or teaching certain medical issues. So yeah, I used to go up there every Saturday and teach. So yeah, that's a great place, great medical place. You know, it's one of, and people come from all over the world to go there, Heath. So yeah, your dad's in good hands. He's in great hands, and hopefully we pray that whatever he's going for, or it's just a regular appointment, but if it's something a little bit more in depth, that he'll be all right. But that's a great place. A great place. Anyway, all right. So let me not get sidetracked. So what they're fearful of is keep bringing up the departure of the first party, and I get it. So here's how you do it. I just thought about this while I was getting my coffee. You go and put somebody out there that I think can communicate this effectively. And the most effective communicator in gaming today, this is what's crazy to me. That Google Stadia, despite all of the ire and the bad publicity and the ups and downs and emotional roller coaster, they have the most effective communicator since Peter Moore. And that's Jack Buser. I would have this guy everywhere, plastered on Stadia cereal boxes. I'd have a deal with Pop-Tart and just have this guy smiling on the damn box. There was no more effective communicator than Jack Buser. And even though some of the stuff that he's talked about in the past changed, it's not his fault. It changed. That was their original strategy. They changed the strategy. The strategy went from a long-term to a more immediate. There's no better communicator than Jack Buser. I don't get why they don't utilize this guy. Is there some jealousy? I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, I digress. You get Jack Buser out there. The most effective communicator in gaming. And you say this. You say, and you simply do a 5-minute maximum, a 3 to 5 minute video on your channel. You say, hey guys, it's Jack Buser. Wanted to just take a few minutes out to show the Stadia community and to show our appreciation to gamers across the world, and show you how we want to do our part to make better gaming for the long term. In 2019, we launched this small platform called Stadia. And here's what we've been able to do since then. We've been able to, through 2019 and 2020, launch X amount of games and do this and do that and do, just put some fathomable numbers that don't tell too much out there. And we've seen the community grow in large events and things like that, that show the love of this platform and help us further our attempt in making gaming a better place. we want to let you know that we appreciate you, that we thank you for your efforts, and we want and already in 2019 and 2021 we have we have our first game that implemented state share, and that's on the heels of our successful launch of Cyberpunk 2077. But there's a lot more, and we can't wait to show you. So stay tuned. No. I'm sorry. There's a lot more to show you, and I can't wait to show you. But what I can tell you about right now is that we're working with our partners to do great things for you, like make our great creation game that we've helped come to fruition, however you want to describe it. Crata, that's going to be free to play for anybody with no commitment. No financial commitment to the platform. You can come and play this great platform creator and play the other games that people have created, that people have won awards of. Show pictures of Brian Chappelle and all that. You know what I'm saying? And then we also got coming up Little Nightmares 2, free to Stadia Pro subscribers at no additional cost. And we got a lot more great stuff coming up for you. We can't wait to show you more of what we got coming in 2021. So we want to again thank you, community. Thank you for your support. And as a reminder, Stadia is here to stay, to make gaming a better place. Until next time, it's Jack Buser. He can have a wonderful gaming day. He can borrow that from me. Close video. Close the video. Is there in anything that I said, is there any mention of the closure of SG&E? No. But in everything that I just said, and I didn't write this down, it's all from the top of my head. But in everything that I said, you have reassured the community that you're in this for the long term by just using simple terms of saying, look, we're in to make gaming better. But you're talking in terms that resound with gamers. You're not making any specific commitments, because I know that's what Google doesn't like to do, regardless if they're committed or not. And then you put a face out there, a face that people respect out there to communicate this in a way that we know he's going to make it stick and resound. And then can take this wall of doubt down, and then people can then start talking, hey, we did in the muck of what happened with SG&E, we did miss the fact that, Little Nightmares launched day before date on Stadia for Stadia Pro members at no addition. This game Crata is dope. Check this out. Check what's out here already. This guy Brian Chappelle said that cloud that's covering that big news gets listed just off of something as simple as that. But Stadia's stubbornness keeps them from unlifting that cloud. And Stadia, don't go flock. Again, I love my brethren and my sister in this community. Don't go flocking to those that make you feel like that you've said enough. You said enough for us, but you haven't said enough for the target demo that's outside of us. You haven't. I'm talking to these people and they're letting me know. I'm not putting a dime into that thing. Hell no. And I feel some type of way, Moss, that you got me to buy these damn things. I don't trust this thing. That's Stadia Pro included. So again, let the record show that the conversations that are being had are now going into a realm that they've never gone to before. Why? Because before it was in a lot of innuendo that people were focused on, but there were counter narratives that we could pull out and say, here, in undeniable terms, what you guys are hearing is false. We don't have said equivalent. I'm sorry, even with that letter, we don't have said equivalent. something additional has to come out. Something additional that, again, don't even have to bring up SG&E. Put the power of the voice in the face of Jack Buser, put him out there. And again, hey, make it seem like you're just putting the video out there as an appreciation. But you use that to piggyback the message off, we're here for the long term to make gaming better. Now, is that going to be the silver bullet to get everybody to say, oh, no, Stadia's here to stay? No, of course not. You got your haters that have an agenda. But then that dissipates this cloud. It does. The overwhelming majority of this cloud. And it makes the average person comfortable again. It does the job. And I don't know why you guys are refusing to do it. But whatever it is, I'm letting you know right now that your refusal to do it is cutting off your nose to spite your face. Yes, I know. Rev knows, Storm knows, Bippity Bop knows, everybody knows for the most part that this is a reshuffling of the resources for the long term. But that's just within the community. We don't have the leg power to touch that mainstream. You do. And you do by putting out that video or something like it to turn the narrative around. Because you're going to have situations like yesterday that just don't have any impact. I'm sorry. Like people, like, if this cloud would have been lifted, or if the announcement would have never been made, which it had to be made, but I'm just saying, just to give you guys an example, or if the veil was lifted early enough, everybody would be talking about this, what we talking about, Little Nightmares, and then they would be talking about Crater. And Crater deserves to be talked about. It's a hell of a building platform. And a lot of these people don't know, but what Crater, they be, oh man, this knocks dreams out of the water. This, that, and the other. And look at some of these games. This guy, Brian Chappelle, he made this game. This guy, but shout out to my brother Project Storm with the 10. He said, what up, fam? Listen while I shovel snow. After that is Stadia time. I got you, brother. This guy, Project Storm, make Magic Castle. Look at these games. Now nobody's talking about that again because there's this veil, this cloud that you refuse to address. And I get it's addressed with us internally, but again, I'm telling you, Stadia, I'm telling you, Stadians, and I'm telling you, Google. The people that they made these changes for wasn't for us. They made it to get more of them in here. They're not buying it, period. With that said, I'm sorry, people. Let me just go over just some of these comments right now. Victor, there's a good section of the gaming community. He likes game creation games. My homie Elknew says Google need to be paying you to be doing their job right now. No, you know what? I wouldn't even take the check because it's so simple. I wouldn't even feel right taking the check. Papal Penguin says, yo, MM2K, I'm seriously having the frozen water syndrome. The question is, will Google thaw it out or will the company? Yeah, I get it, bro. Hey, Papal, I'm not mad at you for that. Now, I feel that there's enough evidence for us on the inside to where it does look like but again, I can get it. I get it. But I think more, and again, not to say we're not important, but I think what's even more dangerous is if that is the inclination that's on the outside. Because that's why they're doing all this, is for those on the outside. Victor says, you could be a unicorn. talking about when I said I had to, I can't give out my real identity right now. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Brian Aguilar says, for 9 to 5 Google to be putting that title, and to me, that's a short through the heart. That's a shot through the heart. Bon Jovi, I got you, brother. Zero Games for me says it's always been on life support. We don't know what's going to happen. Will Google pull the plug or will it rise to greatness? Yeah, that's the perception that's out there. Now, earlier when it was out there, a lot of it was just bibble babble, and I think they really shut it up temporarily with Cyberpunk 2077. But they killed it directly after that. And for some reason, they act like they don't understand the importance. They think they can just work right past this. No. Proof, yesterday was proof in the pudding. Everybody should include, and when I say everybody, I don't mean just me. I can't control the news outlets. I'm talking about the news outlets. Everybody should be talking about Little Nightmares 2. Everybody should be talking about Crater. And Crater should be more under a microscope. And people should be getting all giddy about it. Why aren't they doing it? Because the resounding the resounding feeling outside of here is this thing is winding down anyway. Why bother? They seriously need to take a grip of the narrative and a statement to reassure Stadia users their marketing is either the worst or they really don't care. You know what I'm starting to think? I don't know who's responsible for it, but I think the decision makers really believe they're fearful again of bringing up SG&E for legitimate reasons. But I think that I think they really think that they can barrel right past this, and they're making a miscalculation. All right, y'all. I wish I could cover more, but the chat was bumping. Here goes one from the homie. Hold on. All right, that's the wife, so I got to go. But thank you, everybody. I hope my position makes sense now. I hope it makes sense because, again, and I wanted to talk about, I'll talk about it tomorrow, about the cloud community, how we got to step it up now because we got to be forthright with the community because a lot of people don't know what to expect. And now is a more dire time than any time to put all these platforms to task. I'm putting them all to task. And I don't think we've done the best job of doing that. We got to be clear in our communication of what we expect from Google so it makes sense to the average listener and viewer when we're on social media so they can get behind the messaging because there are a lot of things that are being said, but we don't know what the hell what people are talking about. But if we're clear and concise, we can make that message understandable and we can get behind the stuff that's, worth getting behind. And two, we got to hold these other platforms to task. We got to hold them to task. I don't think we're doing a good enough job of doing that. It's great that they're coming out with games that are accessible on their platform, but there's so many questions about them to where, let's just say in an ulterior universe where I don't believe Stadia is going to survive, or if it doesn't, and I go to GFN's business model isn't sustainable. So if Nividia runs into a situation where they're like, oh, we got to reallocate resources too because AMD is on our ass, then I would have had my heart broken twice back to back. We got to be forthright with this stuff. We got to do a better job. All right. With that said, a shout out to everybody. Shout out Knicks. We go hard. I appreciate all of y'all. Love you guys. And until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Yeah, Christian Woods. I'm open too, man. Stubbornness got to go. Peace.